back in 2016, the Pizzagate thing? These morons who believed that Democrats were, in some systematic way, had just the most horrific child abuse rings taking place all over the country. This was a conspiracy theory started on the radical elements of the internet, 4chan, and it was promulgated and promoted and really given weight by conspiracy theorist morons like Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec. Two figures who are now like mainstream conservatives. They were the Pizzagate idiots, just conspiracy theorist morons, and now they're mainstream. Jack Posobiec always on with Steve Bannon, always on with Charlie Kirk, a regular fixture on Charlie Kirk's programs. He's a mainstream Republican now. It tells you the pipeline of radicalization and also just the radical shift of the Overton window in the United States, that what used to be radical freaks that weren't welcome in polite company are now just fixtures in the Republican Party with direct access to Donald Trump, the incoming president of the United States. It's scary. It's dangerous. And they're emboldened. Well, there was a guy from North Carolina who traveled to Washington, D.C. to go to Comet Pizza, I believe it's on Connecticut or Wisconsin Avenue here in D.C., and demanded with a gun to go to the basement to free all of the children that were being harmed by Democrats. Demanded to go to the basement that doesn't exist in this building. I've been to this pizza place. It's 2 doors down from a restaurant that I love. These people are morons. And he fired a gun. He ended up being arrested. Well, that guy's dead. Blown away by cops in a traffic stop. Apparently, allegedly, reportedly, he pulled a pistol on cops. They ordered him, because he's white, he gets a chance. Hey, put the gun down. He chooses not to. They kill him. That's how it went down, apparently. But what this speaks to more broadly is, it's kind of a chicken or the egg kind of a question. Are these types of people more willing to commit violence? Do they have a predilection toward violence? Or does the radicalization of Donald Trump and the politics of the Republican Party kind of bring that on? Chicken, egg, I don't know. Here's a headline from the Charlotte Observer talking about the event. Pizzagate gunman fatally shot by police outside Charlotte in traffic stop. The Salisbury man, who died Monday after he was shot by 2 Kannapolis police officers over the weekend, was the Pizzagate gunman arrested in Washington, D.C. in 2016 after he terrified people with a loaded AR-15 inside a restaurant. Edgar Maddison Welch, the man killed, made national headlines in 2016 when he entered Comet Ping Pong, a pizza restaurant in Washington, D.C., armed with an assault rifle and a loaded revolver. He drove from Salisbury, North Carolina to the nation's capital in search of an alleged child sex ring linked to Hillary Clinton, something he learned about from a fake news story the Washington Post reported. Something he learned from Jack Posobiec and Mike Cernovich, allies and pals of Donald Trump Jr., and the rest of these morons. Around 10 p.m. Saturday, Welch was sitting in the passenger seat of a gray 2001 GMC Yukon when an officer pulled it over near Cannon Boulevard, a Kannapolis Police Department press release said Thursday. The officer recognized the vehicle, having arrested Welch in the past, and knew he had an outstanding warrant for his arrest for a felony probation violation, police said. The press release said the officer spoke with the vehicle's driver and recognized Welch in the passenger seat as 2 more officers arrived. The officer that pulled the vehicle over then moved to the front passenger seat where Welch was sitting to arrest him. But when he opened the door, Welch pulled out the handgun from his jacket and pointed it at the officer, police said. The arresting officer and second officer at the scene shot Welch after he refused orders to drop his gun. The press release identified the 2 officers who fired as Caleb Tate and Brooks Jones. Third officer did not fire his weapon, the press release said. None of the 3 officers, the vehicle's driver, or a third passenger in the back seat were injured. Welch was transported to a hospital in Carrabas County for treatment. He was later transferred to one in Charlotte, but died from his injuries 2 days later. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation is investigating both, and both the cops are on administrative leave. So, this is not surprising. It is a loss for the family, maybe not a loss for society, but certainly there are people in his life that are sad and will mourn his death. Again, the chicken and the egg question I think is very important here, because was he radicalized by Donald Trump? Was he animated by the politics of the Republican Party? Or does he have a predilection toward that behavior and those beliefs and was only motivated by it being socially acceptable? I don't know. But Donald Trump traffics in conspiracy theories. He pals around with people who absolutely traffic in conspiracy theories. Your Alex Joneses, your Jack Posobics, your Mike Cernoviches, your Charlie Kirks, your others. I mean, the entire 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump conspiracy theory is enough in and of itself. So much that it motivated people to try to overthrow the United States government in an effort to end democracy in America. Violence was used, just like this guy. It's going to be a long 4 years, and things are going to get worse before they get better. We may not see a better America for a decade or more. Brought to you by a majority of American voters who chose Donald Trump because eggs were expensive. So they said. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. I would appreciate that. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. Daily at dollemore.com is where you can email me. Listen, subscribe to the channel if you're not. I'm nearly at 900,000. It's free to subscribe. Easy. Just click the little subscribe button. If you're someone who just gets my content, I do this often. I find channels that I watch all the time, and then I'll realize, oh shit, I'm not even subscribed to that channel. I watch it all the time. It's because YouTube says, oh, you like this, we're going to give you more of that. If you're in that position where you're not subscribed, maybe you even think you are, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it very much. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore, and if you want to help support and produce this work, click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month, or go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That is not just for the podcast. It absolutely supports this effort and this work here as well. Anyway, I love and appreciate you. Thanks for your engagement. I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.